Psalm 34. We'll look at verses 1 through 3. Psalm says, I will bless the Lord at all times, and his praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make its boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear of it and be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. You may be seated.
All right.
Tonight I'd like to talk from the subject, no matter what, I will bless the Lord. No matter what, I will bless the Lord. This psalm tonight was penned or written by none other than David.
Yeah, man.
David, who was a skilled musician.
Yeah.
David, who was an inspiring poet. David, who was a fearless warrior.
Yeah.
David, the man who eventually became Israel's second king. David, a man after God's own heart. A man who had a relationship with God. But even with his relationship with God, and even though he had the heart of God, it still did not exempt David for having trouble in his life. As I've studied and researched David's life as recorded by 1st and 2nd Samuel, I conclude that the trouble that David finds himself in is because of one or two things. Number one, David gets in trouble as a result of a bad choice that he made. You remember David and Bathsheba and how he got her pregnant and eventually had her husband Uriah killed.
Yes, he did.
So David finds himself in trouble as a result of that. But the second reason David finds himself in trouble is because of the anointing that God has on his life. And what's interesting to know about David's anointing getting him in trouble is that the same anointing that got him in trouble
What, man?
eventually got him out of trouble. And in the midst of David being in trouble and getting delivered and being in trouble, David writes to us tonight and says that no matter what, I'm going to make the conscious decision that I will bless the Lord. David uses this word bless. Bless is the word barak in the Hebrew, and it means to speak well of or to give a good account of a particular something or someone. David says, I'm going to bless at all times. All times is translated at every occasion. So what David literally says is that I will speak well of the Lord or give a good account of the Lord at every occasion. Now, I have somewhat of a problem with this because normally my speech is a result of my sight. In other words, what I see has a lot to do with what I'm going to say. If you sent me somewhere and I saw something that wasn't pleasant, if I'm honest, I'm gonna probably give you unpleasant comments.
Yeah! Hook it up, man.
But David says in verse 1 that he's gonna speak well at all times. Now, correct me if I'm wrong in here tonight, but all times covers good times and bad times. All times covers whether I know what's going on and even when I don't know what's going on. So I prayed to the Lord and I asked, Lord, how am I supposed to speak well even when I see stuff that's bad? And God quickly reminded me and told me that, Trent, you really don't walk by what you see anyway. Because remember, Paul says that we walk by faith and not by sight. Come on, hear me. The just shall live by faith. And without faith, it's impossible to please God. What is faith? According to Hebrews, faith is the substance of things hoped for, and it's the evidence of things not seen. So I might as well go ahead and tell you tonight that it's going to be rather difficult for you to bless the Lord without faith. Because it's important to have faith, because this is what faith does. Faith looks beyond my right now. And faith reminds me that the Lord is still on the throne. And if he wants to, he can get me out of my right now. My faith reminds me that even when I ain't got a dime in my pocket and I ain't got no money and I can't borrow no money from anybody, that the Lord still owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. My faith reminds me that even when my plans are broken and my heart is broken and everything is broken in my life, that the Lord can still cause that which is broken to work together for my good. So you need to have faith. Now, when I was in school, when I was writing papers and stuff for elementary, and I use it now, they used to tell us that it's important for you to discuss the what, the when, the who, and the why. So in this text, David says the what is to bless the Lord, speak well of or give a good account, when at all times, at every occasion. But let me pause and tell you the who. And to be quite honest, it helps me with the what and the when I can think about who. David says that I will bless the Lord. This word Lord in the Old Testament can be found about 7,000 different times. This word Lord in that 7,000 times can be found 3 different ways. Number 1, you can see the word L-O-R-D with all lowercase letters. Number 2, you can see this word Lord with a capital L and a lowercase O-R-D. But the one that David uses is the word Lord with all a capital L, a capital O, and a capital R, and a capital D. What it mean, the word that David uses, this word with all capital letters, means the word Jehovah. In the Greek, it's the word Yehovah. It is where we get our English word Adonai. What's special about this word Jehovah is that it brings into relationship God the Creator and man the creation. And it lets me know that I don't have to go outside of our relationship if I ever needed anything, because whatever I need, God is.